Tonight's episode of NXT started off really hot as we instantly got into the action of Fatal Influence going up against the Culling, who are also teaming up with Lola Vice, a solid 3-on-3 match. This match continues the storyline of Dana Paxley not fully realizing how serious it is to be the NXT Women's Champion. She's in there having fun dancing around with Lola Vice, and Izzy Dame is the one that constantly has to be serious. Hell, she's so serious, she's the one that ends up pushing Dana Paxley out of the way and eating the pin, which leads to Fatal Influence winning. I mean, this is all a really fun storyline that I'm really enjoying. I feel like this all makes Izzy Dame's inevitable heel turn a lot more feasible. Obviously, when she turns on Dana Paxley, everybody's gonna hate her, but she's gonna have a very fair reason. Dana Paxley didn't take it seriously, and Izzy Dame constantly had to defend Dana Paxley and the World Championship reign. It's a pretty solid reason to turn on her, even though we all like Dana Paxley. I'm also very happy that Fatal Influence is still being booked really strong as a faction, and that they're not just being pushed aside now that they're not the main focus anymore. Really appreciate that, and I'm happy to see that they're still doing very strong. El Grande Americano arrives on NXT ahead of his championship match against Jasper Troy next week, and he tries to claim the locker room for himself by throwing a bag away that ends up being Josh Briggs' bag, who is very pissed about this, setting up a match for later tonight. The match itself is very fun, although with a lot of outside interferences. I do enjoy El Grande Americano a lot, so seeing him on NXT is very fun. The match is constantly interrupted by Los Americanos, who try to help El Grande Americano. Jasper Troy also comes during the match, sitting in the crowd, looking on, trying to study El Grande Americano for their Speed Championship match next week. And then near the end of the match, Davion Heights, who's in a feud with Josh Briggs, runs to the ring. This distracts the referee, allowing Los Americanos to attack Josh Briggs and help El Grande Americano pick up the victory. So like I said, a lot. I think the match served its purpose very wonderfully. Davion Heights and Josh Briggs' feud continues and adds a bit more personal stakes there, and El Grande Americano and all of the elements surrounding him gets introduced to the NXT crowd. I am curious though as to whether or not Jasper Troy actually can win, because I want him to, but are they really going to have him get a victory over El Grande Americano, who has been booked very strongly consistently? I would like that, but I am unsure. My money is still on Jasper Troy winning though. We get a clip of Ying from TNA, who is very upset with what Kelani Jordan has done and says that she's going to take the pride and honor of TNA back from Kelani Jordan. Keep this promo in mind because we do follow up on it a bit later tonight. We go backstage where Ren Sinclair tells Kendall Gray that she's very impressed with Kendall Gray's Evolve Championship match last week, and that she is the first introduction to the Ren QCC. This is very strange because while I like Kendall Gray and I enjoy seeing her in the Ren QCC, I do wonder what's up with Carly Bright, because they're a team in Evolve, but Carly Bright is never with Kendall Gray on NXT and with the Ren QCC. And yeah, sure, maybe you're not as high on her as Kendall Gray, but I still think she would add a little fun element to the faction. I don't see the reason to abandon it. Carmen Petrovic and Tara Misteel are also here, but it doesn't seem like they're part of the Ren QCC, although I do think both of them could fit in perfectly, so maybe that is a storyline we get to later. Regardless, Kendall Gray thanks Ren Sinclair, and Ren Sinclair wishes her good luck on her Speed Tournament match tonight against Zarya, which let's get to that next. So the match is Zarya versus Ren Sinclair, and I feel really bad for Ren Sinclair, because whenever she's in one of these type of matches, you know she's just there to take the pin. She's very entertaining though, but Zarya wins, and it makes sense because this whole Speed Tournament thing, it's kind of designed to push Zarya and have her win the belt. Danny Sakelski is also in this tournament, which she's been renamed for whatever reason. I don't know why. She's the LFG winner, and I really like the name Danny Sakelski. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but it is what it is. Fallon Henley's also in this tournament. She's a dark horse to win, but it's probably going to be Zarya at the end of the day. We catch up with them later in Ava's office, where Zarya says she's happy to have won this match, and Sol Ruca wants her rematch for the Women's North American Championship at Gold Rush, saying she's feeling ready and she's cleared. Ava does say though that the doctors haven't cleared her yet and she still needs a month or so, but Sol Ruca wants to go. Fatal Influence then walks in, and we get a bit of a back and forth with JC Jane wanting her championship back and Fallon Henley wanting that Speed Championship, kind of mirroring each other with the belts they both want, but she sends them all out of the office. I'm very curious about this. I feel like, yes, Sol Ruca was injured, but it doesn't seem as serious as it was initially presented. I honestly feel like they just didn't want Sol to lose both belts and take a lot of pins. So they saw, okay, we have this opportunity, let's just strip her of it, because come on, they could have gone a month or so without her having to defend the belts, just be there talking, playing up the injury. Hell, there is probably a month or so where she didn't actually defend the Women's North American Championship or Speed Championship before, so it probably wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But okay, it's probably just to have her not take any pins. We do catch up with Blake Monroe later too, who is in Ava's office, and she's very upset with this match being made for Gold Rush and says that whatever happens to Soruka happens on Ava's watch, not hers, before leaving to be with her significant other. Kelani Jordan comes down to the ring and she says that she did last week what she had to attain the belt, and she doesn't understand why everyone hates her. She took the opportunity that was given to her, but now the TNA locker room hates her just because she's from NXT, and the NXT locker room hates her because she's representing the championship with pride. She dismisses Ying Lee's challenge from earlier and says that she's not going to defend her championship at Gold Rush because Ava's not the general manager of TNA, so she can't make her defend the TNA championship before leaving the ring. I feel like this was a really great promo, probably one of the better Kelani Jordan promos we've ever seen. It wasn't perfect by any means, but I feel like she's really developing her promo skills, and this whole gimmick of her, it's really entertaining. I feel like we're finally unlocking something with Kelani Jordan. Week after week, it just feels like she's finally clicking like we've always needed her to. Kelani Jordan is backstage and she interrupts everybody, all the women's locker room members, and that's when Ava steps in saying Kelani Jordan doesn't make the rules around here, and while she's right, she isn't the general manager of TNA, she can still put Kelani Jordan in a match, and she does. She puts her in a match against Tyra May Steele. This match was genuinely really fun. I don't understand why we don't push Tyra May Steele more. I don't need her to be a champion, I just need to see her more because she's very entertaining, she has a unique style, plus she just looks cool. Really fun, really good match. Kelani Jordan shows a lot of new heel tactics and heel mannerisms, which is good. I'm glad to see her improvement. I've said it before, she does pick up the victory. Sorry for Tyra May Steele, but hopefully we can see more of her still because I do genuinely want to. After the match, Santino Marella appears on the Titantron and says that at Gold Rush, Kelani Jordan will defend her championship both against Ying Lee and Jordynne Grace, so that's going to be a major match. I also believe TNA is back after this week or this week itself, so hopefully we get to see more of that storyline develop on TNA too, especially to see Kelani Jordan on TNA. Here's hoping. Ricky Sainz and Trick Williams are having a split screen interview. It's your basic run-of-the-mill promo package. Trick Williams wants the belt. Ricky Sainz says that Trick Williams doesn't deserve it. What's interesting is it doesn't last very long before both men just ditch it and go to find each other and try and brawl, but Trick Williams just beats Ricky Sainz' ass with a steel pipe and says that he's taking that belt next week. I am very hyped for this match. I feel like it's going to be a solid match, but I do just want to get done with this. Trick Williams has nothing left to prove in NXT. He should have been on the main roster yesterday. And Ricky Sainz, you know, still don't feel him. You guys know my opinion about him. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but not particularly the most exciting match I'm more excited to just get finished with. The main event match of the night is Javon Evans versus Saquon Sugars, and Javon Evans pulls his prime Super Cena self out of his match because he goes up against Darkseid, who constantly interferes. Without Leon Slater having the other back and without Jeff Hardy, Javon Evans just goes 1-on-4 alone and picks up a victory over Saquon Sugars. Man, Javon Evans is just so good. I would have much rather had him be the NXT World Champion instead of Ricky Sainz. No offense to Ricky Sainz, man. You could have put him in this position. Would have felt a lot better about it. I just like Javon Evans a lot. And when it comes to Saquon Sugars, I'm very happy to see him in a singles match. He's kind of the most interesting member of Darkseid in my opinion. So at least having a member of Darkseid in a singles match, that's a major improvement. I really want to see more of Darkseid being individuals and showing personality instead of just being this one-toned faction. Then we have Chelsea Green and Ethan Page, the main event segment of the show, celebrating being the new mixed gender tag team champions. I'm not going to try and pronounce the name because I'm going to fuck it up. While they're both happy, they're both kind of frustrated because nobody respects them and they're wondering about Joe Henry appearing. They get these big sticks and they're ready to beat up the cake because they believe Joe Henry is in it. So they say Joe Henry's name, but he's not in the cake. Joe Henry is actually walking down the ramp. Joe Henry wants a shot at their mixed tag team championships, but Chelsea Green points out he doesn't have a partner. So Joe Henry says he's gonna find one, and he says the name Thea Hill, who bursts out of the cake. Then Joe Henry and Thea Hill just hit pies into all of their faces, and stand tall. It was a really fun segment, and honestly, I like this alliance of Thea Hale and Jo Henry. I feel like it's a really good position to put Thea Hale in. She's a very good character worker. Jo Henry is a very good character worker. Hell, Ethan Page and Chelsea Green are very good character workers. So it all just fits perfectly, and I'm just happy to see Thea Hale have a major program again. Similar to Tyra Steele, I want to see more of her. So that was NXT for this week. A really solid episode. I'm gonna give it another 9 out of 10. Wasn't perfect, it was very entertaining, but giving it a 10 out of 10 feels too much. But 9 out of 10 is as close to perfect as it can get. You know, a super solid show, enjoyed everything of it. The amount of women's action, progression, and storylines we got, that was perfect. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. I cover NXT, TNA, and Evolve every single week. I also have a podcast with PUWF where we just run over Evolve for about 2 hours just discussing it if you want to hear some different viewpoints on that. So yeah, leave a like, subscribe, check all of that out, and I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye everyone.